Hey everyone, it's Wage Iverson. Today I'm bringing you guys a video which is going to be 5 comps that I recommend to play at the set launch. There was a patch yesterday and I can't really say that anyone knows exactly how the meta is going to shape out or what's going to be the best comp of the patch, but I'm going to bring you guys 5 comps of different types like reroll, level 8, level 9, that I can say will definitely be very solid for release day. And yeah, if you play these comps like early in the patch, you'll definitely have like good success until the meta is exactly figured out. So I'm not going to say that these are the 5 best comps of the patch, but I will say that these are 5 comps that I'm quite sure are going to be pretty decent for the patch. And at least on opening day, when nobody really knows what the meta is yet, then you're going to perform really well if you can play these comps at a high level. So the first comp that I'll be getting into, and I'll just talk a little bit about each of them, is this Fellord Ionia Unara flex board. Now in the most recent patch, this board actually got kind of a triple buff with a Unara attack speed buff, I believe, a Lissandra buff, a Lissandra mana buff, and a Wukong mana buff. The way I would describe this comp is it's a level 8 comp. You really want to play it off of an Ionia opener so that the Kennen and Kobuko unlocks are a lot easier. If you play this off of some other opener, it can be really difficult to unlock those guys. Yeah, if you play through a Jin Ionia opener, you can slam the Rageblade, Kraken, IE on your Jin, and transition to this board on level 8. And it's a very safe comp for top 4. Even if you get stuck on level 8, you just wouldn't play Rise or Tarek, probably not Rise. And yeah, by just staying on level 8 and rolling for all of your 2-star forecasts, you're going to top 4 very consistently playing it. Although it's not a comp that's going to win very often, it's often going to get outcapped by a lot of legendary boards. This board doesn't really have any legendaries that it can scale into. But it is a very consistent top 4 comp, and I think that Unara is going to be very good on this patch. And although this board doesn't play set, I do think it's also kind of an option to, especially if you're like really ahead of tempo playing that kind of Ionia opener, you can unlock set on level 8 and play like 5 or 7 Ionia with set to level 9. And then you can either just keep like 5 or 7 Ionia with the set, or you can drop kind of back into this board at level 9. So I would say you have a lot of options with this comp. But if you do want to just focus, like kind of tunnel on this board, I don't think that's like a bad choice either. Set is not particularly one of the strongest legendaries. He can be pretty good, especially if you get him for free and you don't really want to spend too much gold. But yeah, those are just some things to think about for this comp, and obviously make sure that you have... I like Even Shroud better than Last Whisper. I think Unara really wants like Rageblade, Kraken, IE, and Wukong, he stays alive really long because he has that kind of like second life. So if you put your Even Shroud on Wukong, he's going to live like a really long time. So those are just some things to think about with this comp. The next comp that I'll be talking about is Fellord invokers with the Lissandra primary carry and Braum as your main tank. There's actually a couple different boards that you can really play. I'm not exactly sure which one's the best. I was looking at some stats, and I think this one is the best in the stats with 7 Fellord, and you carry kind of like Volibear, Lissandra, you play Kindred, giving like attack speed to your entire team, and she's also another option as a duo carry, and she can also like keep your team alive. And a couple of things to think about. If you're playing 7 Fellord, you kind of want to frontline the towers because they stun enemies on death. Make sure you have anti-heal, and really your other option I would say is you drop these 3, so you're going to be playing 5 Fellord, and you're going to add like Koboko, you're going to add Zilean, and you're going to add Kennen. And this is kind of like a different option for a board, and the nice thing about this board is it lets you duo carry Zilean. So if you have like an extra set of AP items, if you have like a Void Staff or something, then you can duo carry Zilean instead. And yeah, also just some ways to unlock Volibear. Try to play like 4 Bruisers and like put some tank items on your Koboko. That's going to be like a really good and easy way to unlock Volibear. And yeah, with the Ornn, you can also print some artifacts late game. So I would say this comp has like a pretty high cap. Volibear too can cap pretty high, and if you print some artifacts and get into like Zilean. But also it's a comp that could be very strong on level 8, playing around like Braum and Lissandra. And yeah, the fact that you have multiple options means that it is like a bit more consistent of a board. So yeah, with the Lissandra mana buff, I think that this comp is going to be like very good. They also nerf some of like the tough matchups like Singed and stuff, so yeah, I definitely recommend playing like a Lissandra, Invokers, Fellord, that kind of stuff is going to be pretty good on launch day, I think. Now getting into the next comp, I wanted to include a reroll comp in the video. Ishtal reroll got nerfed pretty hard, and it's a pretty first or eighth and also difficult comp, so a comp that I think is like a lot more consistent, that you really want to play off reroll augments. So in terms of augments, I would be thinking about like I don't know, too much value could be good, trade sector could be good. Those types of augments. Epoch to get an early bard. You really want to have like free rerolls so that it doesn't kill your economy to get bard. So these are just some examples of like some good augments for the comp. Just anything that gives you like free rerolls. Patience is a virtue as well, maybe. But yeah, you're gonna roll for bard before the carousel. Bard really wants archangels in this comp because you're playing 6 bruisers, so you're gonna have like a lot of frontline for him. I do really recommend like duo carrying Aphelios. He kind of takes different components than Bard. He wants bows, Bard wants like tears and stuff. And yeah, for your Scion build, Anima Visage is probably the most important item on Scion. Other than that, like Bramble and Declaw are really good options, I think. Probably avoid like Warmogs because he gets so much HP from his passive. And yeah, you're just going to reroll like 4 Bruisers, Bard Aphelios on level 6, push levels for 6 Bruisers, and then to cap out you can add like a Set or a Zillion. So it's a pretty straightforward, easy to play comp, and yeah, I would say it's pretty consistent, especially if you play it off of like a reroll augment, you're gonna hit your board very consistently, and yeah, top 4 pretty consistently. The cap of this comp is not necessarily the highest. You might think it caps really high because Scion has so much HP, but you kind of do get outscaled by some like legendary boards late game. But it is a very solid comp, and yeah, if you're someone who likes rerolling, I think this is definitely a comp that you can be looking to play pretty often. The next comp that I'll recommend, this comp did get nerfed a lot in the most recent patch, but I do think it's still really good. And that's going to be like a Fast 9 Mel-Swain kind of board. So I would say there's a lot of flexibility in this board, but first off, let's just go over some stuff. So Mel, you want to position her in the middle because she throws out the orbs that steal mana, and she also does damage in like a 3 hex radius of where she casts. So you want to be targeting kind of like one of their frontliners in the middle. In terms of Mel itemization, you really want 2 mana items, ideally adaptive because adaptive also works with her like mana drain. But yeah, like blue, adaptive, and also just 1 damage item, so like probably a jeweled gauntlet would be the best. And then for the front line, you're going to be playing around Swain, Vi, Nico, Shyvana, and then Seraphine's going to kind of like bind it together with the Disruptor and Piltover. In terms of the Piltovers, I really like Blast Shield and Continuum Cogs now, after the EMP got nerfed again, but EMP should still be a decent option. Fiddle's going to do like a really good job of carrying like Morello and Void. And Swain really likes mana items because he is like kind of a CC tank, so like Vow and Visage that give him mana are really good. And Warmogs can be pretty good too since he scales up health. And yeah, for your duo carry, you can do like Fiddle, Lucian or Senna. Shyvana is an option, although she's normally more of like a TG kind of holder. And there's also like a few extra options for the board, so you don't necessarily need to play this like Ambessa, Fiddle, Lucian, Senna. You can definitely play some sort of like Kindred plus Draven. If you have like a Rageblade Kraken for your Kindred, definitely an option. So there's a lot of options with this board, but this is kind of like the default board that I would be aiming for. And just to simplify it like a little more, and I do think that Fast 9 Mel is still going to be very strong if you can get it online with good items. Like that double mana is going to be really important on Mel to make sure that she casts. So that's really the thing that I would say is like the most important to keep in mind about this comp. And yeah, you're going to want to play this comp from like lots of econ augments and also like a good tempo. And the final comp that I'm going to recommend going into live is going to be this kind of new Gunslinger Warden comp. I've been playing this comp a lot recently, and I genuinely think it's like the highest cap comp in the game. But you're going to want to play this comp off of a Bilgewater opener so that you can start getting the Silver Serpents as fast as possible. And you also want to try to get the Lucky Doubloon as fast as possible, which you can only get if you have 5 Bilgewater. And after you have that Lucky Doubloon, you can look to toggle in 7 Bilgewater and like refresh your shop. And you can use the Lucky Doubloon, which generates Silver Serpents, to buy like these other First Mate Flintlock, Dead Man's Dagger, like any of the damage items that are good on Avanath, or any of the tank items that are good on Nautilus. And yeah, by farming a lot of extra items, you're going to be able to cap super high. You also have Ornn that prints himself artifacts. You can just give him any random artifact, and like on 2-star Ornn, he's going to give himself like 1300 HP, which you can then feed to the T-Hex, because the T-Hex gets 80% of the HP of whoever he eats. And yeah, like you can have like a Shojin IE that maybe starts off on MF, and you kind of move it to Lucian and Senna later on as you generate more of these Bilgewater items. And yeah, this is like a super difficult comp to play because you have to keep track of a lot of things. You have to unlock Oriana, which in turn lets you unlock the T-Hex or Piltover, so you have to be holding all that stuff on your bench. You also have to be like managing your Bilgewater shops really well, trying to get 5 Bilgewater as fast as possible to get the Lucky Doubloon. and then toggling in 7 Bilgewater so that you can get the items in your shop, and then you can get rid of 7 Bilgewater and just farm them using the Lucky Doubloon. But I do think you can just take like a million econ augments in this comp, even though it's a super expensive board, you're just like farming infinite items and playing around like super high quality units. So you don't really need like any sort of combat augments, and you can just take like a bunch of econ and yeah, just play this comp. And even without like the T hacks, I've seen like people kind of top 4, just playing around like MF2, Brom 2 on level 8. So to me, I think this is going to be like one of the best comps of the patch, if not the best comp of the patch. And I definitely plan to like play it as much as I can, because it's also super fun as well. So those are the comps that I'm going to recommend going into release day. I think after the Singe nerfs, a lot of people are wondering like what to play, what the meta is. And to be honest, I'm not like 100% sure. I think as the patch goes on, we'll really figure out what the best things to play are. But I definitely think that these 5 comps that I talked about in the video are going to be really good options, no matter what, and that they're going to be really solid and help you guys out a lot on release day if you stick to these kinds of comps. So if you enjoyed the video, let me know. Thank you. Like, subscribe, leave a comment. I appreciate your support as always, and bye-bye. Peace out.